students with us this evening. These are the members from Hairspray. Mrs. Gaynor, would you like to introduce your cast?
Oh, gosh. Great. All right. They're ensemble. Most of them are in the ensemble. We're right in the middle of a dress rehearsal, actually, so we're going to say the pledge and run. But
would it be possible to have everyone just
their name? Well, this is Tatiana Asalar-Duara. Jasmine Ibarra.
Tyvish, Alejandro Gutierrez.
Sarah Moore.
Christina Andrade.
Dana Lee Garcia. Very good. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. Our flag is over here, so if you'd like to come over a little bit closer, and then if we could all stand with our students. And whenever you're ready, oops. Whenever you're ready.
And let's take it off of Sarah. Okay, go ahead.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, thank you so much.
What's your number?
When's the show?
No, I'm so glad you asked. Is this weekend Friday and Saturday at what time? 7. And Sunday at what time? 2. Hey, here's $5 per day. Good luck. Break a leg.
One of them did.
Oh.
Oh, no. Oops.
Yeah, but I think she means the L-E-G-G leg.
Right.
The curtain leg.
Okay, whenever you're ready, Kathy, you can do a roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Lucia, Ms. Dodd. Here. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mrs. Laurie.
Here.
Mr. Scarnio.
Here.
Mrs. Mullen. Here. Ms. Phillips.
Here.
Ms. Ruiz.
Here.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yes, here. Thank you very much. And we come to the public portion of the meeting on agenda items. If you'd like to stand and be recognized with your name and your address, you'll have 3 minutes to speak for a grand total of 30 minutes on, again, agenda items only at this point. At the end of the meeting, we have another public session where you can speak on any items. So if you'd like to speak on something, please stand and be recognized. Okay, I see no one on public comment for number 1, so we'll close that section of the meeting, and we'll move on to approval of minutes. We have February 21st and February 21st executive and regular session.
second?
We have a motion, we have a second. Questions, comments, corrections? No one? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good, thank you, everyone. Communications, Kathy?
Okay, we have retirement celebration for Joanne Carroll. And that was sent, it's Circle Bowl and Entertainment, Thursday, May 18th, 2017, from 4 to 8 p.m. And the price is $45 and includes dinner, bowling, shoe rental, and a gift.
That's really cute, that's something different.
Yes.
So if any board member was interested in attending that, you can contact Kathy. There is a charge for that, and that would be your personal choice if you wanted to go and pay that cost. Thank you very much. I also have an invitation that was sent to me from the Morris County Council of Education Associations, and it is for the annual Our Pride is Showing Celebration of Excellence in Morris County Public Schools, which takes place at the Rockaway Town Square Mall. It's April 24th at 6:30 at the Macy's lower level. It's a display of all of our artwork and students celebrating. There's a dessert reception to follow there. It's always a great time. I will remind board members again, we have plenty of time in between. So, just a first notice on that. All righty,
And
thank you.
even if people can't be there, the artwork is on display.
Yeah, it's
It'll
there.
be on display for longer,
Right,
which
you can
is
go during
really
the day.
nice to see.
Right, you can go during the day and see it. That's usually what I do. Okay, thank you. On to superintendent's report. Mr. Becker, please.
Thank you, Jen. The first item is recommend the out-of-district placement and transportation for the student as listed for There's also a position of an aide is necessary for one of our out-of-district students at Park Lake School.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any questions or comments about this? Okay, roll call then, please.
Ms. Dot?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Laurie?
Yes.
Mr. Scarnio?
Yes.
Mrs. Mullen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. Ruehl?
Yes.
Mrs. Shower?
Yes.
The next item, I think we have to change the wording because termination of the
Yeah, that
following
sounds-
student,
that
maybe it
sounds-
should be termination of the placement of the following
Right.
student. But we do have one student attending the Shepherd Preparatory High School who will no longer be attending that. The next item, we recommend the field trips and professional development as per the attached list. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. I did have one question. It was a Tiger Wrap trip, I believe, and it was for the 22nd of March. Tiger Wrap?
The Novartis trip?
No, it said community board, but it was to Dover. So I'm just, could we clarify, what is the community board meeting in Dover? Is that the town meeting, the mayor and the board of aldermen?
Oh, okay. All right, under professional development.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I misunderstood.
I'm sorry. I may have said field trip.
Yeah, that's our Tiger Wrap, the community board meeting. There are a variety of community outreach programs.
Okay.
And one of the functions of Tiger Wrap, of the coordinator, is actually liaison with the different community groups and be the linkage between the school and that group coming back. So she'll attend the meetings and then she'll report to us any ideas, projects, initiatives they would like to start as a result of those meetings.
And that's happening here in Dover?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yep, and that occurs actually quite frequently. Mr. Bullock represented us at a meeting 2 months ago.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, very good. Any other questions, anyone? Okay, roll call then, please.
Ms. Dot?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Laurie?
Yes.
Mr. Scarnio?
Yes.
Mrs. Mullen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. Ruehl?
Yes.
Mrs. Shower?
Yes. Thank you very much. That's it, Mr. Becker.
That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you very much. On to personnel. Mr. Miller, please.
I make a motion that the board approve staff and extra services appointments for the 2016-17 school year, items 1 through 12.
Second.
Okay, the motion, with a second. Any questions or comments by anyone?
I have a question about number 11, the position, meaning, I remember Mr. Morgan had come to give a presentation a few years ago about the AP World History and that the students would have the iPad during the summer. And now I see we would have a teacher now spending time with them in the summer.
Yes, Mrs.
Okay.
Starr will be taking over that. Mr. Morgan will be working on our capstone project.
Okay.
Very soon he's going for,
Oh,
to
great.
Texas for
Oh, cool.
a training session.
Okay, great, great. It's just so nice that they have that time, that extra time to get prepared. So,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Dot?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Laurie?
Yes.
Mr. Scarnio?
Yes.
Mrs. Mullen? Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. Ruehl?
Yes.
Mrs. Shower?
Yes. Thank you very much. On to curriculum and code, Mr. Mullen.
Recommend the preschool play for the 17-18 as submitted by Mrs. Superintendent, the Board of Dover and the school.
Very good.
Second?
Motion, we have a second. Questions? Anyone?
Uh,
About the plan?
May
Yes,
I
sir.
just
Yes, please.
make mention? We're asking you to approve the preschool program that was submitted. However, this is a unique process as we have to submit our preschool plan before the final budget numbers are known for preschool. So we'll be coming back to you and actually modifying the numbers to reflect the true budget amounts that we now have. So we had to submit them. There's a retroactive approval to submit the way their calendar works. And now, since we have budget numbers, we have to go back and reconfigure the program. So at the next meeting, we'll be asking your approval to resubmit the preschool with the modifications according to the new budget process. I don't know why we have to do a program before we have the numbers to run it, but this is the way preschool tends to run it, so.
Mrs. Shower.
Yes, thank you very much. Ms. Rosario is not here this evening. Ms. Ruiz, did you have a chance to look through this stuff? I hate to blindside you with this.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
I didn't particularly review it,
Okay.
so I don't have any comment on it.
I was just asking if you could move the community relation items.
I moved the community relations.
It's just letting us know these items. It's a lot to read, you don't really have to read it.
Do you want me to read, well, on the motion?
Yes.
So I move that the board resolves upon recommendation of the superintendent, the Dover Board of Ed recognized and accepted the harassment, intimidation, and bullying HIV incidents reported for the period February 15, 2017 through February 28, 2017. Be it further resolved that the Dover Board of Ed approve the remedial and disciplinary action taken for each valid case.
Perfect. We have a motion, we have a second. Any questions or comments? Okay, roll call.
Ms. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Laurie?
Yes.
Mr. Starnio?
Yes.
Mrs. Mullen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. Ruiz?
Yes.
Mrs. Shower?
Yes. Thank you very much. Continuing on with that, we had our menograms that went home with everyone, our adorable menograms with all of the information.
And Academy Street is very busy.
Academy Street School was very, very busy. They always like to push it a little bit harder than everybody else. They really are adorable.
All at once.
All at once, they do it all the time. It's great. So we have several items going on there. As we said, all Academy Street. So please, if you have a moment, public, if you can read through the exciting items that we're talking about through page 5. Okay, thank you, Ms. Rose. On to buildings and grounds. We have nothing there. Ms. Dodd, I see nothing.
Nothing, sorry.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
No. Budget and finance, Ms. Laurie.
Okay, I move that we approve and/or adopt the following resolutions as listed.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any questions or comments? Did you want to say anything about?
Yes, do you
Budget
want to
item.
vote on this first, or, well, oh, okay, wait a second. All right, and then, number 5 is we had our committee meeting. We met with the, Mr. Becker, Ms. Schoonmaker, and we went over the budget that we will be voting on tonight to send to the county for approval. And I would like to just read this. The Finance Committee is requesting approval to submit the proposed budget for review by the Executive County Superintendent. This budget adds a new textbook series for grades 3 to 6, continuing an initiative begun with grades K to 2 years ago. This budget will permit all students to take the AP exams at no cost to our families. 2 new AP courses have been approved and will result in Dover participation in the AP Capstone project at Dover High School. New Mac laptops will be purchased for grades 7 and 8, continuing the 1-to-1 ratio our students currently enjoy. The laptops in grades 7 and 8 will be transferred to the elementary schools, allowing each student in grades 5 and 6 to have a personal computer assigned to them. Dover High School will begin a new program entitled Introduction to Theater and will begin a summer financial literacy program to allow students the flexibility to participate in more diverse programming. Despite the many new initiatives, the Dover School District taxes are projected to increase only $35.17 per year. The Finance Committee has endeavored to create a budget that will advance the academic interests of our students while being fiscally responsible to the taxpayers, and respectfully requests approval for submission to the county office for review. As you probably may remember from previous meetings, in April, once we get our approval from the county of our budget, in April, we will be having a public hearing on the budget. And that will go into detail of the items in the budget. So we're hoping that you will be able to attend and tell other people, because it would be great to have the people in the community come and see how much has gone into the effort, how much effort there is to make sure as much of the funds go into the classrooms as possible. So we look forward to having that presentation.
That's April 25th.
Yeah, April, so that would be nice if I said the date.
And it will be here again in the media center. It will be here at 8 p.m. Okay, thank you very much for that, Ms. Lori. And you're moving all the way through to item 9 on page 7?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Questions, comments from board members? Discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So everything that you, the things that you just listed, like the new computers and the intro to theater, all of those things are new initiatives that would be starting, right? That's all brand new stuff?
Yes, yes.
Any other questions, comments? If anyone was following the governor and his budget presentation, we have received flat funding from the state. We did not receive more, we did not receive less, but they giveth with one hand and they take it with another hand from someplace else. And we're still trying to figure out what needs to be done. There were some Title I changes, but an increase of $35.17 for a full year is an increase nonetheless, one that we try our hardest not to have. We have had almost
Well, we
zero.
had our ratables. Our
We had-
ratables from the town went back down
$1 million.
$1.5 million.
Right.
So that affects our budget tremendously.
And that's actually where the increase is coming from.
That's
Yeah.
it,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
We
not-
can only
not-
go so low.
It's not extra money that we put into the budget, it is because of lower ratables in the town.
Lower ratables in the town. So actually, our budget is less
Less than it was last year.
than it was last year.
Yeah.
We're doing more things with it, but we can't make up for the ratables in the town. That drops, and the money has to come somewhere. So unfortunately, there is a small increase. It's our first increase in years and years. We've had,
8 years.
yeah, I think we had it last year.
Because last year we gave back $1.
$108. $108. You may not have seen it in your tax bill because the town absorbed the difference, but we gave back $108 last year. So, okay. No other questions from the board? All right, roll call then, please.
Ms. Dot?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Lori?
Yes.
Mr. Studio?
Yes.
Mrs. Muller? Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. Ruiz?
Abstain.
Mrs. Shower?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to a report from Mine Hill. Our Mine Hill liaison is not here this evening, so then we'll move straight on to old business. And Mr. Miller, I will leave it up to you to then give a review perhaps of the Mine Hill committee meeting.
Okay, just so the public knows, we have a committee that has met with Mine Hill twice. We attended our first meeting at a Mine Hill Board of Education meeting in which the public was present for a presentation of their desire to withdraw their 7th grade students this coming school year in the fall, and then the following year, then it would be 7th and 8th grade. They made a number of presentations of how they would put the school, middle school together, very minor details, but not a lot for the public. They're very concerned about the fact that they don't see how they could put together a middle school with such a small number of students and the amount of capital necessary to really build a comprehensive program, which during their presentation they admitted they wouldn't have a number of things. They wouldn't have sports, they wouldn't have certain clubs, they would have limited number of teachers that would be able to provide instruction at that time. but that over a period of time, they would want to be able to build up a student base. They made mention of the fact that they're the only K through 6 district in the state. They want to be K through 8. A number of the parents very concerned that they had a consultant that did a feasibility study on financial only, not anything based on education, that indicated that they would have some savings in funding. However, the presentation was flawed, and the public recognized that the consultant didn't know how to subtract. And it turned out that the number was a lot smaller than what they had projected. A number of the parents were concerned they didn't want their students to participate in a pilot middle school program, that their students would fall behind. On the other side, Mine Hill was arguing that their consultants have indicated in some of their studies that smaller is better, and that they felt that they could provide education as well as Dover, if not better, over time. So a lot of parents were against it. There are some, that were for it. A lot of the parents were trying to understand where this was coming from. Why did they want to do this? If it's not the education of Dover, it seemed what was being said in the room was that a negative perception of Dover in general, that perhaps their property values would go up if their students were not going to Dover. And that's what was being said, in the public portion. But there are a number of parents that are not in favor of this, that did talk to us afterwards. So we had that initial meeting, and then we had another meeting planned with the Mine Hill Board to further our discussions and perhaps put together some options. So we set that date, and our committee worked to put together some options that would help us collaborate with Mine Hill in such a way that would be beneficial both from an educational standpoint and a financial standpoint. So when we had that meeting the week before, I understand there was another public session in which there was another discussion. Parents, a lot of fake news that's been going around, and just a desire of a group of people that want to be able to keep their students. In some cases, I can understand wanting to keep them, because they're used to having their elementary school. I know some of the things I've mentioned is that it's really an elementary school. Just having 7th and 8th grade is just going to be continuation of elementary school. I know within our own district, having that separation that we've learned over time is very necessary. So we came to Mine Hill, and we met with them, and we thought that we would be dialoguing a lot more about some possible options. And they did listen to us, and they spent time away to discuss. But they already had the resolution on their agenda to vote that night, and they did vote in favor of starting the process by submitting to the state that they would like to withdraw their 7th graders from Dover starting this fall. So there's still a lot of dialogue that has to happen. There's an entire process that has to continue going through, in which there will be more opportunity for us to have dialogue with Mine Hill. But we remain very positive that we feel that there's a lot more that can be done. Hopefully at some point in time we'll be open to some other options. But it's really out of our hands right now until we hear back from the state and start that process.
Very good. Any of the other committee members want to say anything, add anything? It was an interesting evening. It was a long evening. We were a little blindsided when we entered the meeting, I think, because we thought we were there to negotiate, and it was really basically a done deal because the resolution already appeared on their agenda. It was a lengthy, 2-page long resolution that was already there. So there was no public comment whatsoever when they voted on it.
And I know, again, a number of parents had talked with us and had told us We do not want this to happen. We will go to the state, we will petition because we believe it's wrong. There's no reason for this to happen. We believe the education will never be able to educate our students as well as Dover is doing. You know, one of the things that I did point out was the fact that when you make statements like we can do better if not, we can do better than Dover. I had to point out that our test scores are higher than at the elementary level and middle school or any of the choice districts that students are going to. Dover Middle School is higher than elementary school test scores are higher. So, you know, it doesn't make sense. But some parents think smaller is better, so I can go with that. But once you start coupling that with the perception of Dover, I'm not liking that part. So I want to make sure that we do what's in the best interest of all students.
We also made sure that we mentioned to the superintendent and to their committee that we were sitting at tables in their media center, which is a fraction of the size of our media center here, let alone the middle school. And we were sitting in the tiny elementary chairs. And we made sure that they are assuming that they're going to be able to prepare their entire school for 7th and 8th graders, which, as we all know, are different people than little elementary people. And that they're going to have all of this done for this 17-18 school year in a matter of months. And that didn't seem to be, committee members, that did not seem to be an issue with them whatsoever.
It'll be for our first year.
Yeah, it'll be a rough first year and we'll get through it, and that's what they were talking about.
If I may, Madam President, just to clarify that it was a unanimous vote from the Mine Hill Board in support of
With
removing
no
the
question
7th and
and
8th
no
graders.
discussion.
And to clarify our next steps, if I hear you correctly, Mr. Miller, waiting for the state, I think we were waiting for Mine Hill to submit their filing, and then our next step is to respond or not respond to that filing.
Is that correct, Mr.?
Yeah.
Yes. That is, and we have 20 days once they have filed.
Once it's served on us by the
Okay.
state.
And we will be responsive.
So at this point, we are not taking any action because no filing has been made, so.
Correct. Correct. At this point, all they have done, they have voted to move it forward and to do it, but to our knowledge, they have not actually done it yet, or they have not made this agreement. Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. Okay. Any other old business? Good. New business. We have our rolling calendar. Our next meeting, March 21st, has been canceled, correct? Correct. We have notified the media today, so Tuesday the 21st has been canceled because we took care of all of our business tonight. And let's hope that there are no more snowstorms to ruin the rest of our schedule. We have the Morris County Association of School Administrators Academic Achievement Award Dinner. I cannot believe we're even saying this. It is June 7th. And the Vice President of the Board, we meet with the valedictorian and the salutatorian and their family, and it's a wonderful evening. We always look forward to that, representing the district. We have New Jersey School Board meetings on March 22nd at FDU, changing enrollment. Mike, I guess you'll be attending that?
Yes. Well, I would like to go to.
Okay. If anyone else is attending, please let us know, let Kathy know to register, just so that we have the amount of people that are going. And then April 26th in Mountain Lakes again at the mansion. Mrs. Lori did say she was attending that. We did have, there was supposed to be a meeting on March 15th, I believe it was.
That meeting is canceled.
Right.
Postponed.
Right, postponed. I guess they will let us know when they're going to do that again. And that was the one.
I'll be attending that meeting.
Very good. Okay. Any other new business?
Yeah, I have one thing. I attended a day-long training down at Fort Dix last Saturday. And it was presented by the Army Recruiting Department. And they are looking to present a program to our juniors and seniors. It's not a recruiting program, it's an information system to let the kids know what is available to them as far as careers in the military. There are 149 career paths in the United States Army, only 4 of which can involve any combat. All the rest is support services for the soldiers, everything from cyber intelligence to carpenters to engineers to medical people to cooks and dietary staff, construction, just the whole gamut. They want to come and explain to the kids what the career paths are. They're available both as enlisted in the Army. You can also do it as a reserve. Tremendous amount of scholarship money that is available to the students when they do go into the military, as well as careers after the military service that isn't available to most people. You need clearances, certifications. These are all things that you get after having been in the military. I did speak to Mr. Becker about it and Ms. Schoonmaker, and I think it's, to me, I think it's a wonderful opportunity. They said they're not here to push anybody. It's strictly to inform them what the opportunities are in the military, and just a great way that they can pay for their future education that just isn't available. They're not looking for, as they call it, boots on the ground. They say they have plenty of those people right now. They're strictly looking for the higher end kids that are going to support these people. And typically, they say they look for kids with 3.0 grade point averages and higher. They're looking for the smart kids, and well-paying jobs with good futures for them afterwards. They said jobs that just start now. They're not on the job post, you know. The only way you really get to them, government jobs and jobs that the companies that deal with the government. And I think it's an opportunity that we need to present to the kids. At least make them aware that this is out there.
The kids and perhaps their parents.
Kids and their parents,
We can work something out.
They said they come in the evening, but they prefer during the day because they said their attendance in the evenings are not always that good. But as I presented it up to Mr. Becker, and I believe he's giving it some consideration.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you very much, Ms. Rhodes.
I just have some questions, if that's okay, Mr. Stein?
Sure.
Did, or maybe this is for Mr. Becker, have we ever done anything like this before? Welcome the military to present their career options to our students?
Actually, years ago, it was very common that they would come in and do all the ASVAB testing and things like that. We certainly do welcome the military. We support the military in many respects. There are some things that are procedural aspects we want to be careful of. For instance, the military is allowed to have any registry information available to the students if we have the parents' consent. So we want to be sure as we set this up, if we do set it up, that the students, if they're giving things to fill out, they have to understand that that's being used as contact information. So we have a little bit of a conundrum there. If the parents have not given consent for registry information and the students have to fill out a form, is that a violation of the parent consent? So there's bookkeeping, things like that, we just have to take a look at and be sure we manage it correctly. It's not a terrible thing. We just want to be sure that we're respecting the wishes of our community and each child.
And they don't give out any type of information for the kids to sign. Anything that they give out is that a student has come to them and asked for it. So they're not going to go hand out every kid that comes in and give them a form to sign.
And perhaps to clarify, Ms. Ruiz, do we still have an Army or the Marines recruiter that comes to our college days?
Oh, yes.
Yes, so that is ongoing.
Yeah.
Every college day, quite often during lunch, where the service is set up. They're very respectful. They don't go around to the tables and try to recruit, but they're there for information.
Their tactics have changed quite a bit
Oh,
of
yes.
late. They've been toned down quite a bit.
And
Did you
Mr.
have something else?
Yeah, if we used to do something like this before, outside of the college day recruiter visit, why did we stop doing it?
Because things change, times change. For a while, it was used as a pure recruitment tool. This is not the way I understand it, is not a pure recruitment tool. It's more advising opportunities in the service. Back in the day, when they would come and do the ASVAB test, and you would get a visit at your home from the military as they talk to you and your child about joining. So things have changed. And,
This program is run through New Jersey school boards, and the Army actually has an officer that is employed by New Jersey school boards that basically spearheads this program.
And would they, I know you visited it and gave us a really good report. If appropriate, would they be willing to present more details about their program to the board? Should we need to or want to learn more about it?
well, that's what I'll be finding out when I go.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you, Mr. West.
members, we would be able to go to the day. I mean, myself, Mrs. Shower, Mr. Miller, we met with these people down at
School
board's convention back in October. And, you know, they gave us overview of what they do, yeah.
Was there
Like I
a
said,
program-
it's basically, it's an information session, because people just don't realize what's out there in the military. Everybody gets the opinion that you're looking for people who put a gun in your hand and go knocking down doors. And there's 39 Army personnel that support every soldier on the ground.
There was also a video on New Jersey school boards of the program
Thank you, that's helpful.
with the lieutenant
Yeah.
colonel. Yes.
Lieutenant Colonel Cruz is running the program.
Did you have anything else, Carol?
I do, thank you, Madam President. At our last regular session, I shared some of the comments and questions brought up at the New Jersey School Boards Association, and to respect everyone's time, I didn't bring them all up since I do have lots of questions. So I'll share a few more comments and questions today. The New Jersey School Board Association encouraged board members to present, or encourage those of us present at the orientation to explore the TD Bank Rewards Program for summer reading and relationships with Barnes & Nobles for free books. So does the Dover School District participate in the TD Bank Rewards Program?
Not necessarily TD Bank, but I know our elementaries participate through the years. It's been Pizza Hut, McDonald's, not necessarily TD Bank, and they may. But that's something that the elementary principals would make that decision whether or not they want to be involved in a program like that.
So right now, we don't participate in the TD Bank Rewards
I don't
Program
know,
for
I
summer
don't know
reading?
that.
We've
I have no
also
idea.
been very involved in expanding our Kindle program, which runs throughout the year. A lot of the students, what is it, grade 4?
But they're the Nooks, they're the Barnes & Noble Nooks,
Well,
correct?
Oh,
Kindle.
no, they're the
Kindle.
Kindles.
But we were using the Nooks.
We started with Nooks.
Right.
And
We were.
Kindles. And we use it during the school year, but we also have that in progress during the summer also. As well as we do offer a summer school program, not only for remedial, but some enrichment at the elementary levels. I think we're one of the few districts that actually does that. So we have quite a few opportunities for reading and reading development. We did look at Barnes & Nobles at one time when we had the Nooks, and that program really wasn't as effective as we would have liked. The Kindle program, because they're set up to serve education, has actually been much more effective for us. Beth, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, the Kindles, Amazon has come around and is now actually ready for the educational market. It was a little tougher when we first started, but now the ability to be able to put books on specific Kindles for individual student interest is there. That was, you could blanket them out to everybody, but it wasn't necessarily what every student wanted to read. The ability over the course of the last year to be able to use the Whispercast system on Kindle, to be able to target students with books they want to read, has really raised the bar with the program, so much so that this year we expanded it into the high school with the bilingual classes. is going very, very well. Very, very well.
That sounds exciting. Okay, thank you. So we don't have a relationship with Barnes & Nobles for free books because that wasn't as effective as the Kindle program that we do have.
Correct.
Okay, and then also, as we all learned from the New Jersey School Boards Association update, the New Jersey legislature is moving forward with the schools as immigrant safe zones, SCR 134. This resolution expresses the legislature's intent that school districts and public institutions of higher education continue to serve as safe zones and resource centers for students and families threatened by immigration or discrimination to the fullest extent provided by the law. The resolution further expresses the intent that those same institutions continue to protect the data and identities of any undocumented student, family member, or school employee who may be adversely affected by future policies or executive action that results in the collection of any personally identifiable information to the fullest extent provided by the law. Local school boards, including Clifton, Newark, and Piscataway, have passed school safe zone resolutions. This board would benefit from exploring the safe school zone resolution passed by the other New Jersey school boards I mentioned and many on the way. Our school administrators, staff, and even our school board members would benefit from knowing the answers to questions like, what do we tell students who are scared for themselves and their family members with regard to immigration raids? How do we respond to undocumented parents that want to make a plan for their children in case they are deported? So parents deported, kid stays here. How does that impact our school? What can schools and teachers do if ICE picks up the parents of our students? And given that for many of our students, thankfully, our teachers and our guidance counselors are the people they trust with their fears. So how do we get resources to those trusted figures? How do we address students who report fears of coming to school because of ICE raids? So not that we're going to answer those questions here, but exploring this school safe, I can't even say, safe school zones policy may help us all learn if and how we could address these questions. And finally, the Rev It Up program that I recently learned about, and I know Madam President shared with all of us, offers, the Rev It Up program is a free program offered by the New Jersey Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program Education. It's SNAP food stamps. And it helps low-income teens become more active and consume healthier meals and snacks. It may be beneficial for this body to learn more about the Rev It Up program, and the Rutgers Cooperative is available to make a presentation to us so that we may explore that program further.
Okay. The Rev It Up program, were you contacted or did you seek out the information? How did that come to you?
The Rev It Up program is available on the Rutgers site, and
Right, no, I understand that it's available there, but did you seek out that information or did they contact you?
And I've been exploring the Universal Breakfast Program. I've been exploring everything available for free. So I found about this program and asked the same, her name is Lisa?
Pez?
Pitts. And she directed me to more information about the program.
Okay, so you did that on your own?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I researched it. I didn't contact them, I didn't invite them, but I encourage us to invite them so they can present to us.
And again, I'll caution board members to remember that we work as a board, that we work together. And if we are instructed to do investigation about any programs, then you're working as an individual board member by the instruction of the board. So that didn't happen in this case, not to my knowledge. The board did not give anyone the ability to do this. But what we normally do, if we have an interest, like Mr. Scarnio had an interest in bringing the Army to Mr. Becker, he spoke to Mr. Becker about it, and Mr. Becker will make the decision whether or not it's feasible. But through talking with Mr. Franks, the high school principal, if it's feasible for our students, if it's a need of our district, and if we don't already have a program that either exceeds what is being presented or supplies that same. For example, the Barnes & Noble, we have a program that exceeds what Barnes & Noble program is. Mr. Becker, Ms. Shoemaker, do you have any idea about the Rev It Up program? I know I sent that on to you as well.
Actually, it is something we've researched in the past, and we looked at it when we were designing different programs internally. The health and nutrition program that we offer here, as well as the, even parts of the Health and Science Academy. I'm not sure if that was Rev It Up, but there was another similar program that we sort of consolidated a lot of the best ideas and incorporated that as we designed a new program. Certainly, programs change, from year to year. And there's certainly nothing, taking another look at it.
And that's what we do, and that's what we do. We look at information to see if it's still feasible.
We started this year the new elective Pursuit of Fitness and Nutrition, which is an open elective in grades 9 to 12. And curriculum was approved back in September. But basically, one sentence from the course description, the students will engage in an array of physical fitness training techniques and innovative nutritional concepts. It's a year-long course, so it's not, it's becoming part of the lifestyle rather than just a workshop or two type thing. So we feel as though, a lot of the concepts are integrated into the body of that curriculum. It's something that students have their own training plans, and over the course of the year are really, making it part of their lifestyle, which was our goal.
Thank you, Ms. Merker. I'm not familiar with the Rev It Up program or the program that we already have, so I appreciate learning more about the coursework. And I encourage us to learn more about the Rev It Up program since it is free and our students do qualify. If it may supplement the coursework already offered, and if it doesn't, then we get a free presentation for 30 minutes.
We have, the board receives solicitation, for lack of a better word, from different programs constantly. Mr. Becker receives emails daily, probably weekly, solicitation letters of different programs through different departments. A similar program had approached us a couple of years ago and it was localized. It was at one of the local clinics they were going to run it through. And unfortunately, it sounded like a wonderful program, but unfortunately it targeted one section of the population of our district. So we have to remember when we're going to approve something, we have a whole district with multiple problems, issues. So that's why we leave it up to the administration who knows our students. These other people who come to us to solicit their programs, or they've received a grant, so now they have to service their community because they've received a grant. They don't know our students. They don't know who's sitting at our desks. They don't know what goes on in the families of our students. Our administration does, our principals do, Mr. Bullock, our PE supervisor does. So we try to target what's going to work for all of our kids. So it seems like we're constantly bombarded with what people on the outside of the district think is better for our district. Rutgers does it an awful lot, and they're constantly using facts and figures about our town, about our district, but they never come to us and ask anything. So I'm not quite sure how they're getting their information. They're getting it from state reports and whatnot, but they're not hands-on. And we like the idea that our board makes its decisions based on the hands-on information from our administration and their staff. And that's very, very important. It's the same thing that went on with the budgeting. There are districts now in the state of New Jersey who are kind of stuck and have to rely on public referendums to do the most minor maintenance in the district, because we have superintendents that are basically there for 2 years in the district and they keep passing it off. Minor maintenance, roof replacements, air conditioning replacement, window replacement, fields, classrooms, textbooks. They keep passing it off so that they can pass their budget through their board, and they pass it off to the next 2-year superintendent. Well, the problem with that is eventually it's got to get done. It's got to get done. And then they pass it off to the public for a referendum because they're above the cap for items that were basically maintenance items that should have been taken care of. The superintendents don't know the district, and they don't know the needs. Our budgeting this year is actually results of the start of a process 10 years ago that trickles down, and finally here we are today.
Even further back than
Even further than that. So It's something you'll get used to, that we're contacted by a lot of people, we all know it. If you go to the school board's convention, forget it. You'll bring home a bag of things, and then you'll get constant phone calls after it.
And I don't know if you've had a chance to, I know there's a lot of information, to read the curriculum guide for the health program.
Well, this
that
is
we
not
have.
a curriculum, it's like a lunchtime thing.
No, I know, but we have, like, to address those, what you were talking about, like for learning of the health and having proper nutrition and proper exercise. And if you go through there and look at that curriculum guide, it's incredible. It really is. I was blown away from reading this current one that we had recently. It was really, it addresses everything. And it makes me very happy to see that because, as we all do, it's very important to have children who are well-nourished and, active and know how to take care of their bodies, which takes care of their brains. That's
We're
what I know.
fortunate also with Tiger Rap, because Tiger Rap is constantly working on nutrition with students. If they are referred to Tiger Rap, say from a teacher who feels that, like a student's falling asleep in class or they're hungry in class, you can refer them to Tiger Rap and they'll do some nutrition study with them also. And Tiger Rap has had health fairs inside the school, quite rigorous health fairs. I remember taking part in them myself in the schools. So we're very fortunate with Tiger Rap for that also, because they are also in touch with many of these programs. First come, first serve. Anything else?
And then if you'll help me, Madam President, in order to solidify the consideration of a schools as immigrant safe zones, is that a motion that I need to make? Do we create a committee to look into that? How do we move forward?
I would say,
on that
even to
consideration?
create a committee, I would say to make a motion and to move forward so that the board can make consideration for it or not, or the feasibility of it. So if you'd like to make a motion for that.
Thank you, Madam President. So I make a motion I move that this board explore the school safe zone resolution passed in Clifton with consideration to the legislature's resolutions, and just explore. We'll just say, I just move that we explore these.
Refer it to committee to do that.
I
And
move
think
that
we're
we,
free to-
that we refer the consideration of the school safe zones resolution to a committee. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Kathy, can you do a roll call?
You want to, if there's any.
Oh, I'm sorry,
about-
discussion. I'm just worried about Kathy making her, she's got the roll call. You're all set with that? Okay, discussion,
So,
any
I have a question.
questions?
Now the state is putting something together now that,
So if I may explain, I'm trying to leave my immigration attorney hat aside. Traditionally, it has been a policy that schools are what are known as sensitive locations. So immigration, ICE, law enforcement agents traditionally have not entered schools. That is not a law. There's nothing barring them from doing that. There are state laws and federal laws that protect privacy, and the school safe zones resolutions, they're resolutions. They're not laws, they're not new statements. It's really affirming what the school should already be doing and reminding those of us that maybe don't have the sensitive nature of an undocumented immigrant student's experience always present in our minds, right? You're worrying about teaching and you're worrying about your bus driver driving the student to school. You're not necessarily thinking about immigration. It serves as a reminder that this is now something that, it has been something for a long time that our students are worried about, but maybe a little more now. So it's a resolution to affirm what is already in place and to educate those of us that even, there's plenty of policies that are in place that we may not be familiar with or may not have read, so ensuring that we're all cognizant of it. The the legislature and the Senate at the, or I'm sorry, the Assembly and the Senate at the state level has already moved to pass this resolution, and then local school boards are also passing this, like Clifton, Newark, and Piscataway.
But if the state does it, then we don't have to do it.
And that's what school.
Not
has
necessarily,
advised us,
because of the education piece. So even if the state does it, right, there's plenty of state policies that we know we're supposed to be operating under, but if you ask me about, 80% of the policies on education in the state, I'm not going to necessarily know them.
So what would happen though, if I can just interject, if the legislation comes down with a new regulation,
It's
then
not a
this
regulation, it's a resolution.
resolution, then this board, by recommendation of the state, we would have to follow suit with some sort of policy.
John, I'm sorry, I forgot your last name.
That's very crucial.
Mr. Krug.
Yes.
We would not have to follow with a policy based on a state resolution, is my understanding.
I'm quite frankly, I'm not sure what a state resolution is. I mean, the legislature typically enters, passes.
Right. Resolutions are non-binding,
Yes,
that's
that
why.
doesn't sound like it, yeah.
Even
so
if the state does it, it doesn't mean we have to do it.
The concern is it has to go to the governor's desk.
On the state
And-
level.
Right, if they're
It
going to
doesn't
pass
on
it as
our
a law.
Right, okay.
It doesn't have to, but
Which is why I'm proposing that we explore it, so we can look into all these questions, have clear answers, and know. Legally, it's not a law, it's not a policy. It is a resolution to ensure that
It's a
One,
resolution to reaffirm what's already in place,
It
to
could be-
reaffirm what's already.
I can imagine
and to
that.
educate us about what's already in place.
And it could be worded, I would imagine, in any number of ways. A lot of boards pass resolutions about the park test. It didn't mean that they were not going to follow the law, but they could, the resolution itself could be, stating their position about something. There's all kinds of ways it could be done.
And if I remember correctly, I'm sorry, reading about Clifton, it really is, it's a resolution prepared by the Board of Education, but it carries no weight.
A resolution never does.
Exactly.
Right. A
It
resolution
carries
is
no
a
weight.
statement. It is something that lets our school district know, we as the Board of Ed recognize that this fear exists. We know what our requirements are under the law. We are educated on them, we are reviewing it, and we are reaffirming.
And there are a lot of laws already in place that protect student records, student information, homeless students. There's a lot. I mean, there's a myriad of things. So again, it's not something that could be done quickly and easily because you're going to have to
Right, we gotta
Take it.
learn.
and see if it's something you want to do or not do. So
Plus,
just
we don't even identify who the undocumented students are, so we don't know who they
That's
are.
actually part of,
Right,
that's
you
part
can't.
of the law. That's what you're not supposed to do.
Right,
And
which
in
is
that
what we
I-
haven't done.
Well, it's possible that if a student discloses a fear, right, does the teacher then respond with, well, why are you afraid? Is your mom undocumented? Are you undocumented? In a loving, caring way, not realizing that that's actually in violation of what she or he is supposed to do. I presume that all of our teachers in our school district already know not to do something like that, so it's reaffirming. Even just being sensitive about using,